So I wanted to find out from you what you thought about the typical student that goes to Oxford or Cambridge. And I also wanted to introduce to you a new scheme that has been launched, which is a more focused way for young people from state schools and from a black background to get in to Oxbridge. And it's called Target Oxbridge. And I am joined by one of the mentors on the programme. His name is André Flemmings. And the programme's designed to encourage and mentor more candidates from state education into Oxbridge. So, welcome, André, and thank you for joining us on Colourful today.
Thanks very much, Jaxx. Thank you.
Good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolute
and you yourself are an Oxford graduate?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I studied philosophy and German at Brasenose College, so that's David Cameron's old college.
Wow.
So I was there from 2002 until 2006, and had a year abroad in Germany as part of that too.
Yeah. What was your experience of Oxford?
Do you know, I loved it actually. It was really, really good. I had I got involved in music, I got involved in sport because those are the kind of things that I love doing. The course was challenging. I got to study things like Nietzsche and other bits of literature and like how the interface between that and philosophy and different parts of philosophy, like philosophy of mind was my particular area of enjoyment. It was great, really cool.
And prior to that then, what was your experience of school? What sort of background did you come from?
Sure. Well, I grew up in Croydon, from Croydon originally, and grew up in a single-parent family. My mum's a midwife down in Mayday. Hi, Minette, everyone who knows her down there. And then I went to a local state primary school called St John's, just up in Shirley. And when I got to about 10, I think my mum sort of sensed that I was getting a little bit bored, so she tried me for one of the thousands of independent schools that are down there.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to get not only pass the test but get a scholarship and a bursary because it's part of the Whitgift Foundation, Trinity down there. And so I was there for 8 years because I started at the age of 10, and then I progressed through the school, got involved in music, learnt how to play the cello, played rugby, hockey. Did loads of amazing things of like athletics. That was my main thing. I ran for Croydon Harriers, and I became their first black head boy.
Great.
And I set up a mentoring scheme. That was my big thing whilst I was there.
So whilst you were at school, you decided that you wanted to set up that mentoring scheme?
Yeah, well, this particular mentoring scheme was for within the school, just because I think, one of the things that I felt was really important at that time was that, there was a lot of knowledge that older kids had about the way school worked and, that they could give to younger kids about, helping them with courses if they got if they had problems, for example, with a teacher, how they'd go about it.
Yeah.
Just general sort of behavioural things because, at that school we had prefects and so we had to sort of, manage lunch queues and stuff like that. So it was kind of nicer if you knew someone's name rather than sort of screaming at someone not to do something. So that was the important thing for me. So I set that up. And it's now an integral part of what they do at Trinity.
Brilliant. That's great. I love that. And I just need to say that this particular segment is made possible by the Colourful Foundation, which is a social enterprise, and it's dedicated to the advancement of young people in education and training and also to safeguarding the arts, culture, heritage and science for the public benefit. Now, it's through that we have been linked up with Rare Recruitment and Target Oxbridge, which is part of Rare Recruitment, and this is where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So tell us then a little bit about how Target Oxbridge came about, although by the sounds of things, mentoring and helping other young people come through, it seems to have started for you from a very young age.
Yeah, and it's similar across actually everyone who works at Rare and also on the Target Oxbridge programme in particular. With Target Oxbridge, this is actually probably our third attempt at something like this.
Right.
So Rare's been running since about 2005, and actually I came across them in 2006 when I graduated from Oxford, and they really helped me.
Yeah.
And but our managing director Raphael Mercades, he was an Oxford graduate, and he felt that more needed to be done in order to encourage more black children from any background at that time to really sort of, consider applying for Oxbridge, but mainly from state schools.
Yeah.
He was involved with the Jaxx project there. So, he tried on a number of occasions with various people to try and set some sort of scheme up to encourage more people to consider Oxford and Cambridge as possible areas to go and study at higher education level. the first two didn't quite work for various reasons, and this is our third iteration. So it was. This is with a lady called Naomi Kelman, who is she was at Oxford as well. She actually lives opposite me in Croydon.
Small world.
Yeah, very small world. And she helped set this scheme up, and she was our first coordinator last year. She now works for the Department of Education, so that's really, really cool.
Great.
And the scheme is basically there to encourage and mentor high performing black state school educated kids about their options, about the skills you would need in order to actually do well, not just at the interview, but actually beyond the interview, actually getting on at Oxford and Cambridge as well.
Yeah.
And so that's our focus. We do that through mentoring from people like me and people who understand where they're coming from and know what it's like to study up at Oxford and Cambridge. And also through our Changemakers programme, which actually involves current black students at Oxford and Cambridge as well.
So you're going into the schools, you're approaching schools and identifying these really intelligent young black students and then inviting them to become part of Target Oxbridge.
Yeah, there's a mixture. Yeah, we go into schools. I mean, this year was our first pilot year, so we're going into schools talking to them about opportunities for those high potential kids, but also we use our networks on the rare side as well, because we have about 3,000 plus candidates there. And, we talk to them and say, look, do you know anyone who would benefit from this? We all go to various church and other sort of religious groups as well. So we'll talk to them as well and say, look, if anyone's you think is, able to do it, then they should apply for the scheme.
Great. And I understand that so far you've got a 50% success rate.
That's correct, yeah.
That's great. I mean, for the first year, that's a great way to start.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We're going to be speaking with Kalm Paul-Christian shortly, and he is one of the young people to have benefited from Target Oxbridge.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, so when we come back, we'll be having a chat with Kalm, finding out what it was like for him to be identified in this way and what he feels about his future because of the mentoring scheme and the success of Target Oxbridge. So that in just a moment. We are talking with André Flemmings from Rare Recruitment and Target Oxbridge, and it's been launched to try and change things up by way of young black students having the opportunity to go to Cambridge and Oxford, and it is happening. And joining us on the phone line now, we have one of the young students. He goes by the name of Kalm, which I think is a great name. Kalm Paul-Christian, good morning to you.
Good morning, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Colourful today.
It's good to be.
And I understand that you're busy at work at the moment, work experience, right?
Yeah, I'm on a gap year placement at the moment.
How's that going?
It's pretty good, actually. I'm getting quite a lot of experience in how the actual working world works, which is a lot different from school, I noticed. But I'm glad to be here.
Great. Does this make you feel quite proud, André?
Yeah, really proud.
You can say good morning to André, Kalm. He's here in the
Good
studio.
morning.
How's it going? You're right.
Yes, thank you.
So, and you're in is it a law firm that you're doing your work experience?
Yeah, I'm currently at Pinsent Masons, which is a law firm that specialises in construction law.
Great stuff. Well, it sounds very exciting and very different. So thank you so much for taking 10 minutes out of your day to chat to us today. So Kalm, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your school life? Did you enjoy school?
For me, school was a mixed bag. I went to a traditional state school in East London, and up until around year 9, I didn't really take things as seriously as maybe I should have. But one of my teachers, Mr. Henry, and Miss Campbell, they were my head of year, took me under their wing, and they sat me down and had a conversation about how I should be thinking about my future by this stage, which no other teachers has really done for me thus far.
Did they take you aside because they could see you had potential, or why did they do that? Were they doing it for all the pupils? No,
they took me aside, and they said they saw the potential in me because I would perform well in assessments, but I wouldn't necessarily give my all in class, was the feedback they were getting from my teachers. After having that conversation with them, I felt more inspired to do something more serious in terms of education.
Great.
And then I started to focus a lot more in class, and having all that attention given to me and being told that I could amount to more made me want to do more. So all through to year 11, I gave it my all. Then my school didn't have a sixth form, so I moved over to another sixth form at grammar school in North London, and it was a big adjustment for me because having been given so much attention throughout those later years, going to a school where every student was considered gifted and it wasn't necessarily a focal group to give their resources to, I felt, I'm not going to say abandoned, but I felt less supported in my journey, and that was hard for me to adjust to, in the sense that
which school then was it that you? I just want to make sure that we don't skip it, because I can see that you went on to be head boy. Was that of the school that you were referring to? Or
that was my first school, Leytonstone School.
Okay, well, I think a little bit of praise there, mister, before So in year 9 you had that chat, then you got really focused and you were made head boy, so that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So then beyond that, you felt that the focus then was lost slightly because you weren't getting that attention, did you say?
Yeah, and I had to become a lot more independent in my own learning, which is a good thing because that's how I'm going to have to live the rest of my life. But it was a lot to adjust to, so I buckled a bit towards the beginning of my AS level, but then I managed to pick it up again.
Great. So then at what point did you hear about Target Oxbridge, and had you considered, when you were doing your AS levels, had you considered university, and were you thinking, were Cambridge and Oxford on your radar? What were your thoughts on that?
Initially coming into sixth form, I'd always wanted to go to Oxford or Cambridge. Then, having not performed as well at AS as I'd wanted to, I wasn't sure if it was still a viable option for me to apply. So I decided to take a gap year, which is why I'm on my placement now. But I wasn't sure how I was going to go about getting back on track and applying to Oxford and Cambridge. It was only in year 13 when a friend of mine who was in year 12 at the time was telling me she was applying to this program, and she asked me to help her with her application and just check over it. That I took notice of it. I decided to apply for myself, and I contacted Naomi, who was the coordinator at the time. And I asked her, even though I don't strictly qualify as a year 12 student, is there any support they can give me? And they were happy to accommodate and invited me along to take part in interview. And then I joined the program subsequently. It was different for me because of how my grades were inconsistent. I wasn't able to qualify for the program the entire way through, but they never gave up on me. So whilst I didn't have a direct relation with a mentor as part of the scheme, Raphael McCabe, who's the head of the scheme, and Naomi took me on personally and still guided me with my personal statement, interview practice and stuff. So having them not give up on me in that sense drove me even more to want to go to Oxford and Cambridge, and I made it here eventually.
Oh, so I'm loving what I'm hearing there, and a lot of what you're identifying with is the belief, you having the self-belief, but also that being magnified because other people have believed in you and invested time in you via Target Oxbridge. André, is Kalm a classic example of the type of student then that you would come across and want to support?
Yeah, and actually I think it's quite similar to my story as well. Even though I was fortunate enough to go to a good school, it's always, there are a lot of high-performing people at my school, like, his grammar school that Kalm went to later. It's always helpful to have that one person who takes a special interest in where you're going. And, I had a teacher just like that, Mr. Powell, who actually spent time talking to me about, structuring essays and just thinking beyond the walls of my school and thinking about what do I want to do next, where do I want to be.
Yeah.
And he really, he helped me. And I think, even in professional life, I was talking to someone from Channel 4 earlier this morning, and she said that, a mentor's really helped her sort of get to where she wants to be. So just having a group of people, be it peers, be it a family member, who can support you all the way through, but also give you an informed guidance is really important, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. And Kalm, so tell us then about your future. You're doing work experience now, and so you're going. Are you going to go to Oxford or Cambridge?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Oxford in October. I'm going to read history.
Yay! Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
You got your offer for Oxford University.
Yeah.
That is so. I feel proud, and I've only spoken to you for a few
Thank you.
moments. That is just fantastic. And so, how do you feel about your future?
I'm excited. I know there's a lot more to do, a lot more work to do, but I also know there's a lot more to achieve out there. And knowing that I have the ongoing support of Target Oxbridge as well makes me even more confident in being able to pursue whatever lies ahead for me.
Yeah. And what do you think then about other young people that you see perhaps not taking the right path at the moment, or perhaps the best path for them? How does that make you feel, and what sort of message would you like to give to any young people or the parents of young people that might be listening as to how they can, follow in your footsteps or achieve greatness?
I think that's probably one of the biggest issues in the sense that I wouldn't necessarily want everyone to follow in my footsteps. Not everybody is academically inclined in that respect.
Sure.
Everybody has different skills that they should be able to build on and achieve for themselves. And I think for as long as we're all judged against the same arbitrary standard of achievement, that there's going to be problems throughout. So I think what I'd say to them is to try and find out what means something to them and where they want to pursue. And what I say to parents and teachers is to look at each person as an individual and try and give them the support they need in whatever area they decide to go down. We might not think that it's the best path for them at the time or not understand their motives, but I think deep down most people know where they do want to be. And it's only along the way when they're discouraged or not shown the right pathways to get to those points that they start to fall by the wayside and go down other avenues. So I think the key is to just give as much support to people as they can and just try and raise awareness of the different avenues there are out there, because a lot of people now wouldn't even know about the Target Oxbridge program, for example. I wouldn't have known if my friend hadn't called me and said, can you help me with it? So I think it's just about raising awareness of the support networks that are out there and just allowing people to build on that.
Great. Well, listen, I'm going to let you get back to work. So thank you so much for joining us on Colourful this morning, Kalm. And do keep in touch. We definitely want to know how it all is going for you, your work experience, and of course, when you start off at Oxford as well. So keep in touch, won't you?
Okay, I will do.
Yeah,
Thank you
all
for
the best.
having me.
It was a pleasure. All the best to you.
Care.
Bye. Bye. So there we go, André, one of your offspring, so to speak. It's great. It's really great to hear him so intelligently, sort of putting me in my place about people sort of following in his footsteps. But certainly by way of, knowing that there are opportunities for everyone, regardless of if it's going to be Cambridge or Oxford. But bearing in mind that Target Oxbridge is the focus of today. If for anyone that's listening who perhaps thinks that they have got someone that they would like to send in your direction, what would you say to them?
Sure. We're actually looking for applicants now, applicants, should I say now, and it's quite tight. The deadline is Thursday this week, so Thursday the 31st of January, and it's a case of just submitting a CV with all your achievements and anything you're proud of. And your grades, that is important. And then also a cover letter just to explain why you're interested in a programme. Tell us a little bit about you and tell me a little bit about your personality and what you're about. So that's the way to do it. And the website, if you want more information, is www.targetoxbridge.co.uk.
Great. And these are going to be kids from any background, any schools or particular? For this particular programme, it's for black students from state schools, so state-educated black children. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so there we have it. If you know of an intelligent young person who perhaps needs a little bit of support in reaching their potential, then Target Oxbridge could be exactly what they need. So do make sure that you get in touch. If you've got any questions, then do feel free to send them through. André will be sticking around for a few more moments. We're going to go to the news at midday, but feel free to send your questions through via text, email, or if you'd like to, you can give us a quick call.